Can't lie, it took me like 3, 4, 5 tries for an intro. I ain't got an intro, not yet, but yo guys, I'm back. Yeah, obviously with another video, and today we're gonna be talking about a book I recently finished. It's like 31 pages long. To be fair, I finished it a while ago, as in like I listened to it a while ago. 44 minutes of pure amazement, if that's even something. 31 pages of pure, what's what I'm looking for? Of just pure, extraordinary, amazing, profound, stunning waffle. But, you know, obviously good waffle. But to be fair, the first few pages, actually, like the first line got me, but the first few pages that actually led up to, to that main thing was a bit of waffle, like, but we kind of needed that to sort of like know what's going on. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, to like introduce the character a bit. But yeah, the end of the book, The Dream of a Ridiculous Man, by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And again, one of my favorite authors. If you know me, yeah, I'm a big fan. I can't really see any other. I think he's, you know what, he's ruined classic literature for me. It's like I can't see myself reading like a Charles Dickens or something. Maybe a bit of Franz. I think I said his name right. A bit of Franz, you know, Letter to Milena. That one might be my next read. But I've dived in too much into like literature. I think I might take a break from literature once I finish Crime and Punishment. I'm halfway through it, and go back to philosophy for a bit. But no, I don't want to waffle. Onto the video. The Dream of the Ridiculous Man. 31 pages. 31 pages. You lot can grab this today and finish it today. You know what I'm saying? 31 pages of, yeah. Let me like sort of like explain. So basically, long story short, this guy, we don't know his name, main character, he has this sense of nihilism where he feels like nothing actually matters. You know what I'm saying? So he decides to try end himself, like try kill himself, like shoot himself. So on his way home, he encounters this little girl who needs help to sort of like save her mum or something. There was no like a specific like detail what's going on. She just grabbed onto him saying mama, mama, mama. I think she said mama, 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 something along those lines. And he basically tells her to like go away and like go to like the police. And then she decides to go to someone else on the other side of the road. And yeah, going back on his way to his yard, to his home, sorry. He then has the gun right in front of him, ready to, you know, shoot himself. I think he wants to put a life, he's done this, he's done that. And he doesn't do it because I think from my perspective, he has like this sense of guilt from not like helping that little girl, because that's what I was thinking, is like, why am I still constantly thinking about that little girl? You know what I'm trying to say? So she sort of like delays him killing himself. And first of all, in like most of Dostoevsky's book, for some reason, someone's killing themselves. That is annoying. And it's so weird. But I guess during those times in the Russian times, or yeah, those centuries ago, there was a lot of like nihilistic behavior, so it sort of makes sense why, you know, he would speak about shit like that. And also he just seemed like just a depressed fella, can't lie. But yeah, he delays killing himself and ends up falling asleep, has a dream that he kills himself. But instead of shooting himself in the head, he shoots himself in the heart, which is quite interesting to me, because the whole basis of the book is love basically that conquers all, and to shoot yourself in the heart kind of like make blossoms the whole idea. It's quite interesting. So yeah, he dies in a dream. Like they bury him, and this I don't know if anyone's seen this. Who's read this book? There's like a sense of like Abraham's, like that story of when Jesus, I think is in Luke, talks about Abraham's bosom, where a rich man dies and some poor guy called Lazarus dies. Lazarus is carried by an angel. Keep that in mind. It's carried by an angel to Abraham's bosom, i.e., heaven or whatever. And the rich man is in a place of torment, asking, I think he was asking Abraham and Lazarus for water. And they said, no, it's too late now. But he said, I just want a drop of water. Bear that in mind as well. I just want a drop of water. Basically begging for this drop of water. But he doesn't get it. However, now, in the dream of the ridiculous man, this guy, the main character, is dead in a coffin. For some reason, he's awake. Because obviously he's recollecting the dream. He's awake. And he's basically, because obviously in a way in the book before he died, he's very atheistic, doesn't believe in a god or anything, but he was like, if you're real, this torment of silence is killing me, can you please save me, or save me from this torment of silence? That's the torment he's in. And the reaction was crazy. He started getting water, drops of water, and it became more and more and more and more until then an angel or some supernatural being kind of like takes him away from the coffin, from the grave or whatever, into space. And he's just shocked. So now the reason why I thought that was linked, it's kind of like linked to the Abraham bosom story, but then like it's kind of like twisted a bit, whereas like he's actually being saved, being a rich man, but yeah, but the rich man wasn't saved. It's so weird. It's so weird how it was the angel. Jesus specifically said it was an angel who took Lazarus to heaven, whereas in this one it was the angel who took the main character from the ridiculous man story to now takes him to this place, this utopia now, this new world, but Eden, Adam and Eve type world. It's so interesting. So he gets taken to this utopia where everyone there is just bliss. Everyone is love, kind. The animals weren't scared of humans. There was no religion. Everyone just had a specific way of life. Even when someone died, they didn't see him as something bad. They didn't see death as something bad. They just thought it was a part of life. There was harmony, there was peace, there was singing together. Everyone was just, opposite to what we have now. You know what I'm trying to say? And he's just surprised. Like, he's saying he's missed his world. And he then kind of like, now this is the good part. He then kind of like corrupts this people with pain, suffering, and lies. And he's upset about it. So now these people went from, it kind of like represents the fall of humanity with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden or something. Yeah. Whereas a serpent can obviously tricks Eve into an apple. You already know the story. So the picture is a new world that Jesus. Now this is kind of linked with Christianity because obviously I'm a Christian. So in my I'm hearing laws of like Christian theology and all that within the story. So they have a new world. We'll have the Adam and Eve story, Garden of Eden, with the new world that he's discovered. So the new world is what Jesus was talking about in the Bible. Obviously now is also linked with the Garden of Eden. Now the reason it's linked to the Garden of Eden is because that's what I think God intended us to be like before the serpent came and obviously deceived Eve, whatever. And the new world is what Christ the new world is what Christ was speaking about, obviously in Revelations, I think it was in Revelations, about there'll be a new heaven, a new world. That's what we're going to be like as well. So now, keep that in mind as well. So now he's obviously come and corrupted them. Now that represents our world now. You understand? Where there's suffering, there's knowledge, by the way, there's science, there's religion. It's crazy. There's religion, there's philosophy, there's torment. Um, it's just mad. Because let me even read you a page. Bear with me a second. By the way, my reading is not the best, by the way. So this is when he corrupted them. He said they learned what shame was and held it up as virtue. The concept of honor was born, an alliance raised aloft of his own banner. A struggle began for separation, for isolation, for individuality, for yours and mine. They started to speak in different languages. They thirsted for suffering and said that the truth could only be attained through suffering. That sounds very familiar, isn't it? When they became criminals, they invented justice and laid down complete codes of law to maintain it. They remembered only a tiny bit of what they had lost. Now, this is quite interesting. They even laughed at the possibility of this former happiness of theirs and called it a dream. It's kind of like us now. We have this idea or this dream that there was a world before suffering. There was, again, the Garden of Eden. But most of us laugh at this idea, saying it's cap. It's not true. It don't make sense. You know what I'm trying to say? However, he then said that they sort of like long for that dream. They have a desire for that dream, but they still refuse it. Let me read on. But this is it. But the strange and wonderful thing of it was that though they had lost all faith in their former happiness and called it a fairy tale, they also wanted to be innocent and happy anew once again, that they fell down before their heart desires like children. They idolized this desire. They built temples and began to pray to this idea of theirs, to this desire, while at the same time recognizing full well unrecognizability and impactability, even as they tearfully worshipped it and bowed down before it. That sounds so familiar now. And yet, if it had happened that they could have returned to that innocent and happy state which they had lost, and if somebody suddenly were to show them once again and ask them whether they wish to return to it, they would certainly have refused. And this is what they say. It's quite, bro, it's interesting. Listen to this. Yes, we're deceitful, wicked, and unjust. We know that, and we shed tears over it and torment ourselves on account of that. To torture ourselves and punish ourselves, perhaps even more than that merciful judge who will judge us, whose name we don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, whenever I read this, it's... But we have science, and with it, we once again will find the truth. But now we will adopt it consciously. I can't even say it. Knowledge is higher than feeling. Consciousness is higher. Of life is higher than life. Science will give us wisdom. Wisdom will reveal the laws, and knowledge of the laws of happiness is higher than happiness. Such words, each one loved himself more than anyone else, and they could have done themselves. I can go on. Righteous men appeared, who would come to these people in tears and talk to them about their pride, about the collapse of corruption and harmony, about their loss of shame. So you sort of like get the corruption behind this, the story behind this. It's kind of like a reflection of what happened to us. It's like a reminder. The fact that this was written a while ago as well, it's ridiculous as well, because that's how we think now as well, and that's how, you know, it's kind of like a ongoing thing. That means there's a problem, and this is what I feel like Jesus saw as well, and he came to tell us love one another. And I feel like if we, from my perspective, I feel like if we love one another, everything, you know, will go away. You know, if you can see humility in the next man next to you, and they see the same humility, what problems will you have? You know what I'm trying to say? It's kind of like basically love conquers all from my perspective. So then now it's quite interesting. He then kind of like takes this representation of him being Christ-like in a way. Let me find the passage. Alas, I have always loved sorrow and grief, but only for myself. For myself, but for them I wept, pitying them. I held out my hands to them. Now this is where it gets interesting. I told them to crucify me on a cross. I taught them how to make a cross. I could not. I did not have the strength to kill myself, but I wanted to assume their anguish. I craved anguish. I craved that every last drop of my blood be shed over this anguish. But they merely laughed at me, and towards the end began to regard me as a holy fool. I don't think you understand. So I can't even get words out to sort of like explain. It's crazy, like the links between there's the atheistic part, the religious part, and the nihilism part, all in 31 pages. 31 pages. It's ridiculous. So then now from that, obviously acknowledging the corruption and him sort of like now seeing the truth from that dream, he wakes up, and then this is where the gospel, I actually know, I put emphasis, this is where the gospel comes in play now, because he woken up saying, first of all, I jumped up in excitement, astonishment. Nothing like this had ever happened to me before, even as far as trifling details were concerned. So now this is where the gospel comes in play. He's got the good news now. You see how Dostoevsky has linked everything with like what us Christians see now, but in like a very, very orthodox way. Yeah, I don't even know what to say now. Like, he goes on saying now, like, he's telling people about the dream, that, you know, the only thing that we need is love. People are telling him, nah, this way it becomes ridiculous. Maybe I'm telling him you're a ridiculous man because it was just merely a dream. This won't come to reality. Now, these people are kind of like the people from his dream. You know, they desire that fairy tale, but they don't want to acknowledge it or know how to get there in this way because they think it's foolish, because they have knowledge, logic, science that kind of sort of contradicts with everything else. There's no reason in like, let's say, love, harmony. There's no reason like that. The reason don't really make sense to that, because how can you love someone that's hurt you? There's no reason in that. The reasonable thing is to do harm back to that other person. You understand? So yeah, that's why he's a ridiculous man, because he's now out here trying to proclaim the gospel, that love one another. Because he ends it with what he ends it. He kind of says, the main thing is to love others as yourself. That sounds familiar, no? It's basically Jesus saying, love one another as yourself. That's the main thing, and that is all. Absolutely nothing else is necessary. And the way he ended it was, now I've tracked down that little girl, and I will. So that's how he's gonna start. He's gonna start by going back to that little girl and sorting out what needed to be sorted out before he tried to kill himself. And that's the book. I think I probably just ruined it for most of you guys who are probably interested in grabbing it. But I say grab it for yourself, read it for yourself, because this is my own interpretation. There's other interpretations out there on the internet, which I've even listened to myself, but I don't think anyone has come to the interpretation of that Abraham's bosom. I think I'm low key proud of that. I can't lie, to link that together, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You understand? But I highly therefore recommend. I'm gonna leave a description. Oh, a description. So I'm gonna leave a note. The notes in the description of the name of the book for you to grab. And one thing I didn't do in my last video was leave names of the other books I spoke about in the description, which I will do in this video. But yeah, I think that's it. Something says about 20 minutes, bit long, but yeah, I say grab this book ASAP. It's probably like a couple nugs on Amazon, or go to Waterstones or something, grab that. You won't regret it. It's only 30 pages. There's other stories in this book. There's something called the Mekon, which I might read, you know. But my thing was just the first 30 pages of pure amazement. So I say grab it, buy it now. Don't wait till tomorrow. It will come tomorrow if you got Amazon Prime, or even later today, actually, looking at the time. And I promise you won't regret it. You can make your, like I said, interpretations from it. I'm certainly going to add it to my life, and it kind of links with what I believe as well, with how I feel like the world should be, how I view Christianity as well, because my thing for Christianity is just love on top of anything else, and that's what Jesus left us to do. He left us the 2 commandments: love the Lord your God, and love one another, so people can know you're my disciples. I don't see anything else other than tradition. Don't really matter to me. But yeah, that's it for today. I don't know if it's put a waffle. Like, what did they say in the video? Like, subscribe, leave comments, all of that stuff, man. Love.